Today we will be discussing The Laughing Song by William Blake. And this is part of the course on the Songs of Innocence and Experience, showing the two contrary states of the human soul, a book of poetry by William Blake. And this poem is in the Songs of Innocence. It's a short, somewhat simple poem, but it reinforces, it's just another instance of some of the themes that are coming out of the entirety of the book that I think are very helpful and useful in experiencing the book as a totality. So what I always do, if this is your first time here, is I read the poem, I do what I call a converse with verse, and then we'll have a little bit of analysis afterwards. But the converse with verse, to me, is really where most of the analysis really comes from. It's more of a free flow discussion in my mind, but I do it out loud, between me and the poet's words that I'm trying to grapple with and understand to the best of my ability to emphasize my experience and understanding of that. I have really come to believe that the book by Blake, The Songs of Innocence and Experience, is the best book to begin a person's experience with poetry in today's world, because it is simple, approachable. Anybody can really, who speaks English as especially a first language, but even a second language, can really get a grasp and understand the words. But then as a teacher, you can pull out and show them more things that are present there. And they can have a better experience because of that. That will show them that's what poetry does. Poetry is not about what's on the surface. It's not about the logical progression of one point to the next point. That's prose, verse. Poetry has the special talent, ability, skill set, capabilities of going on a journey with you. This journey aspect has been, pointed out by many poets over the thousands of years, that it allows you to, it's a poet of the imagination, journey of the imagination. John Keats called this the traveling on the realms of gold, in the realms of gold. That's what you're doing, is you're going someplace. Where that place is, that's up to the author, that's up to you. Okay, so let's read this and have a converse with verse. When the greenwoods laugh with the voice of joy, and the dimpling streams run laughing by, when the air does laugh with our merry wit, and the green hill laughs with the noise of it, when the meadows laugh with lively green, and the grasshopper laughs in the merry scene, when Mary and Susan and Emily with their sweet round mouths sing ha, ha, he, when the painted birds laugh in the shade, where our table with cherries and nuts is spread, come live and be merry and join with me to sing the sweet chorus of ha, ha, he. So again, very simple. It's just called The Laughing Song. Blake is one of the most popular to put to song in a modern sense. You can find a lot of people, even on the internet, on Spotify, but even famous bands. In fact, one of the unofficial national anthem of England is a William Blake song called Jerusalem, or the New Jerusalem. He is commonly put to music. And there is a musical sense to this, and I think he's trying to emphasize this. This whole book is called The Songs of Innocence and Experience. Let's do a converse with verse with this one. So when the greenwoods laugh with the voice of joy. So I'm getting this conditional statement when. So when this happens and the dimpling stream, I really like dimpling. I don't have any dimples, but people with dimples, and dimpling stream, and a dimple obviously connotes smiling, laughter. And so he's doing a really good job of showing to me, I can almost picture in my mind of the imagination, a stream that has like a little dimple in it. And a dimple doesn't have to be a laughter. It can actually be just like almost like a dent in something. It's, that house, the shed has a little dimple in it, right? It's just got a dent. And that's another way of saying it has something crevice in it. And that's what I think that's what I see when he's talking about this stream. And again, he's using runs laughing by. So it's a personification, of course. When the air does laugh with our merry wit. So there's that when. So I'm getting triggered to this when. And the green hills laugh with the noise of it. So there's this condition. So this is a good time when you're teaching this to teach about conditional phrases. And this is a conditional. So it's when these things happen, something has to occur. And we haven't gotten that something. There's a poem by Rudyard Kipling called If a man does this, if a man does this, then he is a man, my son. It's a very famous poem. Michael Caine does a beautiful reading of it on YouTube. Those are a series of conditional statements that lead up to, if you do all those things, then you are this. If then statements. This is a statement of time. So the condition isn't just doing this, it's also time associated. So when in time this happens, then this will happen. So okay, that's what I'm starting to get triggered to, because I'm seeing when a lot. And I noticed that when I first read it. When the meadows laugh with lively green and the grasshopper laughs in the merry scene. Okay, so again, if you're taking it literally, we know meadows don't actually laugh. Grasshoppers don't laugh in these merry scenes. But now we get when Mary and Susan and Emily with their sweet round mouths sing ha, ha, he. So now we finally get a human situated in this. When the painted birds laugh in the shade, when our table with cherries and nuts is spread. Come live and be merry and join with me to sing the sweet chorus of ha, ha, he. Shade, spread, me, he, green scene. My question is to myself, when all these things happen, when Mary and Susan, Emily with their sweet round mouths sing ha, ha, he, we have these painted birds. What happens? When that happens, then you can come live with me and be married. So to me, it's an interesting conditional statement of these things that have to happen in the universe. And then we get to join with you to sing the chorus of ha, ha, he. I get the sense of this poem in reading it. We have these things occurring in nature that we just have to recognize as humans. And the kind of throwing in there, it's not its own scene. It's just, Mary and Susan are just jammed right up there with the grasshopper. It's one sentence. There's no, it's not enjambment where it goes where there's no block, but Susan, Emily with their sweets, that's enjambment. But it just seems like it's all together. What strikes me here is the Mary, Susan, Emily, these humans are thrown in there with the grasshoppers, the dimpling streams, the hills that laugh and things of that nature. So I really get a sense of the harmony of it, that it's really about this harmony between the humans and nature itself. And I think that's a big part of what he's saying. We get this in other elements of the poem, of the book of poetry so far. And this is just another example. So I really think that that's that's the main gist of this poem is, and the painted birds laugh in the shade. Again, we had a poem called The Blossom Sparrow and a Robin. This makes me think of that. And I also see this as a kind of, especially with the image we have, as a demonstration, explanation of just humans in this scene. And I think that's the main thing, is that we as humans can live in harmony with the Greenwoods and everything around it if we choose. And when we do, we get to live and be merry and join with whoever this author is to sing the sweet chorus. So we can have the laughter just like the green hills. So it seems to me to have this kind of message, and this is kind of how I'll end it. One thing I see is this going into nature and being at one with nature. And verses, although we don't have the verses here, I think the implication to me anyway, in retrospect, since I'm in 2025 reading this, I know a little bit about history. I can think that there's a challenge to the idea of imposing too much of the human on nature. Like, it seems like he's saying you'd be laughing happier if you just lived in touch with nature. This is actually more of a new romantic idea. So I guess I'll end with this actually. We tend to think that this idea of the beauty and harmony of human and nature living together has always been around. No. In literature and poetry, the forest, nature by itself, untouched by man, is the deep, dark, dangerous, deadliest place. As Hobbes put it in the Leviathan, nature is nasty, brutish, and short. So we need this kind of human imposition. Otherwise, we will die a nasty, brutish, short life. The Romantics had a new sense of things and wanted to encourage a kind of living in harmony with nature. But my point is that that's a new development of ideology. That is not how humans were for all of existence, because nature without man's imposition of his mind and his productive thought, industriousness, without that, then you get death, basically. You die. You can't live without that. And that's always been the thought through, all of human stories. And even, you kind of even see this in the Garden of Eden, in a sense, which is one of the most famous mythologies of this. And that is that even in the Garden of Eden, you need the protectiveness of the Father or God to make it, living in harmony. Once you leave that, then you need the productive work of the man or the labor of the man in order to protect you from being steamrolled, taking the way that the natural world can just demolish you. And if you know anything about nature, it will kill you very quickly. So this is new. So I'll end with that this is a new concept. You're seeing this quite a bit in some of Blake's work, and you'll see this in more romantic poets' work as you progress through that. Okay. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.